Positive Anime Reviews is a review show that is designed for people who aren't very picky about their anime, like me. Most anime I watch ends up in my 5 out of 5 category. My reviews are for those people who are looking for a reason to enjoy anime rather than hate on it. I am willing to give any and all anime a chance before stating my opinion. Lastly, my reviews are all my opinion and might and or most likely won't match yours. If you don't agree, that's totally fine. Just be respectful in the comment section, thank you. And as always, there is sometimes a spoiler section, but fear not, I will warn you first. Hey guys, Darth Clark here, back with another positive anime review. Today we will be talking about Strawberry Panic. So it's been a while since I'd done that intro, but yeah, welcome back to Positive Anime Reviews. Once again, sorry about my hiatus on this particular show of mine. It's just, yeah, I kind of fell out of the habit of watching anime, and then there was lots changing in my life, and when I was moving, and all kinds of things, and so there was a lot going on, and then I just fell out of the habit of watching anime, and I had a new schedule for my job, and so then I was getting used to that, and then developing new habits with my new schedule was it took some time. So, but I did finally get back into the habit of when I watch my anime and getting into the habit of kind of following a schedule much more so, and so it's pretty sweet. So I did finally manage to get one watched. Now, we have not reviewed this one, but I have seen this one several times. And so it is an old favorite. So yeah, I finally got into the habit of watching one again. So, and here's hoping that going forward, hopefully, and I assume going forward, because now once again I am in the habit of watching anime at night and stuff. So hopefully going forward it'll be much easier to actually get stuff watched. And so, I do believe that to be true, and so here's hoping. But yeah, obviously today we are talking about Strawberry Panic, and Strawberry Panic is a classic. It's been out a very long time, but it is a classic. It is a Yuri anime, so if that is not your thing, I totally get it, but it is very much my thing. And so if that's an immediate turnoff for you, then I get it, but you're not going to enjoy this anime. But for those of us that are still here and we're all about that Yuri or Shoujo Ai animes, then you'll be mighty excited because here's another one. Anywho, so yeah, like I said, it's been out a long time. This anime viewed in the spring 2006 season. So yeah, it's been out quite a while. But it's fantastic. It is very much a classic. And I don't know if there is a dub for this one. As with most things, I didn't watch it dub. I've never heard the dub, and so I have no advice on if it's good or not because I really have no idea. As far as now, is this an adaptation from a manga? It looks like it just says source other. So I guess I don't know if there's a manga. I guess much like the dub, I don't know if there's a manga. I wonder if there is. I should look into it because the anime is good. So I do wonder if there is a manga or not, but I don't actually know. Normally it does not say for this one. It just says other. So it might just been like something weird, like a short series or something that they turn into a full anime. I don't know. But anyway, so now jumping right into the synopsis. It'll be much easier to get the premise of this anime than it will be listening to me. Now, Nagisa. Oh man, there's that word again, dude. It's AOI. What is that, like? Aoi? It's really hard for me to pronounce, and the more I think about it, the worse I'll do it. So Nagisa is her first name, so don't worry about that. That's easy to pronounce. Nagisa begins her new school life as a transfer student at St. Miotore's Girls Academy, one of 3 prestigious all-girls institutions atop Astria. I was never totally sure how to pronounce that. Astria Hill. Getting lost on her first day, Nagisa encounters a mysterious student whose elegance and charm is so bewitching she ends up in the infirmary. There to greet her when she awakens is Tamao Suzumi, her roommate, who enthusiastically introduces Nagisa to the daily life and social structure on campus. Most notably, Tamao informs her of the existence of an exceptional student representative among all 3 schools. Here's the thing. Now, I don't know how to pronounce this, but I believe it's a French word originally, but they pronounce it as étoile. Now, I don't know if that's how you're supposed to pronounce it, but in the anime, they pronounce it étoile. So that's how I have always pronounced it. If that's wrong, I I'm very sorry. But like I said, this is like 3 languages deep here, because I was watching the anime in obviously Japanese, and I believe it's a French word originally, and I obviously only speak English. So it's like 3 languages deep here. So if that's not right, which I fear it might not be, then, really sorry about that, but I'm just parroting what I hear, okay? Anyway, the Etoile, or star, eager to meet this person, Nagisa learns that the ethereal beauty she met earlier, Shizuma Hanazano, is the one and only Etoile herself. Not only that, Shizuma seems openly interested in Nagisa. Her interactions with Shizuma naturally make her a hot topic on campus, yet despite being so captivated, Nagisa can't help but wonder if something is off. Strawberry Panic follows the everyday routines of Nagisa, Shizuma, and her friends at St. Miotor's St. Spica. Now, this one's interesting because in the synopsis here, it calls the third school St. Lulim? It's like Lulim, but that's not the name of it in the anime I was watching. It was Miotor's Spica, and I don't remember the third one. But in this one they call it Saint Lulim or something, but that's not the name of it in the anime I was watching. Whatever. And then there's a third school. As they navigate through the challenge of relationships while confronting hidden feelings, lingering regrets, and new possibilities. So yes, it is just your classic slice of life romance. Now, like I said, I have seen this one before, and it is from 2006, but I feel like right off the bat, something that I feel that I can't help but feel the need to point out is this is very much like I'm trying to think what the word is. It's like a classy anime. It's like for instance, if you watch like Pride and Prejudice or like a Victorian era romance, obviously a lot of what you're gonna get is gonna be very, very different than anything that's like that takes place in modern day. And I don't know what era, like in the show, I don't know what era this takes place in, but it very much has that same feel of like it's very classy, and there's lots of social status going on and lots of backstory that's super important, and it's very intricate. But my advice when you're going into this one is to put yourself in a different headspace than you would if you were watching, like, I'm trying to think of a modern like Yuri anime, like Citrus or something. You know what I mean? Like if you're going in with like Citrus and like this one, it's going to be completely night and day different on how the romance exactly is going to feel. So it is going to feel very, very different. This one very much has that like, think like Victorian romance. It's not an old school anime. It doesn't take place in Victorian era, but it kind of has that feel that it's very classy. It's not super modern feeling, so there's lots of social status and social cues, and there's, lots of love triangles, and it's all very, very complicated. But that would be, I feel like, a disclaimer to when you're on the way in here, is just to remember that, you have to put yourself in a different headspace for this one. Because it is good, but I wouldn't want you to be surprised thinking, wow, this is like, it's like really, really reserved, and it's not, it doesn't feel like this other anime that I like at all or whatever. So you have to put yourself in a different headspace. But anyway, so moving on to rating, how clean or dirty is the anime? Now the site gives this one a PG-13. I'm on the fence about that, to be honest with you, because although it is mostly PG-13, I mean, at hardest, there's not language flying around. I don't even recall any swear words in this anime. But there is some mild nudity. Now, when I say mild, I mean very mild. But like, for instance, like it might show. It might show like someone, I don't know, I'm trying to think of something that happens, but like it doesn't show anything explicit. There's nudity, but it's not explicit, so it's kind of up to you. I would say on the fence between PG-13 and R, I would say, so it's like mature audiences or PG-13, but it's somewhere in that range. So there is nudity, but it's not explicit, and so I won't break it down any more than that. But that's more or less, I would say, it's a hard PG-13 or a very mild R, but it's one of the two, I would say. And R, I would go with like whatever, mature, you know what I mean? I guess it's up to you. Anyway, so genre obviously is very self-explanatory. The site says drama, girls love romance, but obviously, Yuri, shoujo ai, romance. I mean, that's what it is. So, and now it does list drama. I would say that is accurate. The thing about this anime is there's lots of drama. It's very, very dramatic. So, it's something to keep in mind. Now, if you did watch an anime like actually Citrus, that's a good example. If you did watch an anime like Citrus, then you're probably going to have a fair idea of what kind of drama is going to be flying around here. Now, I'm not going to do any kind of spoilers here, but there is drama, and so that is something to keep in mind. So if you cannot stomach the drama, like if it's too much for you, which I totally get, my drama, like my ability to withstand drama is very, very dependent on how bad it is. How many episodes does this go on for? Is there good closure? You know what I mean? And so it's like very, very dependent on those things. And so I can stomach drama, but it's very hit or miss. You know what I mean? It's not just pure. I don't live off of drama. And most of the time I try to actively avoid it. And so, but I will endure some level of drama if it's for a really good, like Yuri romance, for example. And so, but so there is drama here, and there's lots of drama, and there's lots of backstory, and there's lots, and it goes on a long time. So I just also wanted to warn you about that one. Anyway, so moving on to the episode or the season length. So how long is this season? Now this one is a little bit longer at 26 episodes. And so it is a little bit longer, which is actually where that drama comes back to. So the drama goes on for 26 episodes. Now it's not solid, obviously. There's lots of fluffy moments. I would say it's probably a pretty even 50-50, maybe even 60-40, mostly fluff. But the drama sections, when it is happening, it does feel like it goes on a long time. Now, it doesn't overstay its welcome, I don't feel like, because yes, it is unpleasant, but you don't feel like you're just living in drama forever. You're not just sitting there forever being like, man, I just really don't like this. Like, it's going on way too long. You know what I mean? So it doesn't overstay its welcome, but, drama's not fun. You know what I mean? I don't find drama fun. And so it's always for me about, okay, well, how long is this going to go? Because I just want to know how long I have to endure this drama before there's better closure. You know what I mean? Anyway, and so how long are each episodes? The episodes are exactly what you would assume, about 25 episodes apiece. Now, in this one, there is nothing after the closing credits sequence, to my knowledge. As always, I do encourage you to double-check if you are at all nervous, because it's better to double-check and find out I was right over being like, I totally trust him, and then missing something. For the first few episodes, I checked, I would stay, and I would make sure there's nothing afterwards, but then after a while, I'm like, I don't think there's anything afterwards. There hasn't been the first 10 episodes, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So I do not believe there is. The only thing after the episodes was preview for the next episode, which I never watched those because I know I'm going to watch the next episode. So it is not prevalent to me. Anyway. And so, as always, I do encourage you to double-check. Now, the only exception is the finale. The finale, like with a lot of anime finales, it's not quite regular with the closing song. The closing song is playing, but there's stuff happening on screen still. And so, it's like playing softly. You know what I mean? So, the finale is obviously, is just like a lot of the time, it is kind of an exception. But, so yeah. But other than that, it's mostly just previews of the next episode, which of course you can ignore if you're like me, because you're going to be watching the rest of them. Now, moving on to characters. So as far as our character list goes, this one is actually pretty sizable. Now, there is only really, this one lists 3 main characters, and I guess I would agree with that. The third main character, it lists as a main character. I lean towards kind of disagreeing. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of disagree. I don't know. There is what it calls main characters and what some of them the it calls supporting. I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure that's just a supporting character? I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. So it's kind of hit or miss here. But 2 of the main characters that are definitely main characters. The first one is Shizuma Hanazano. So Shizuma is pretty stinking awesome. So she is one of the, definitely what I would say is actually a main character. And she is one of the part of one of the romances. There is several brewing throughout this anime. Lots of supporting characters and lots of, things going on with them and backstory and drama and other things. There's a pretty big cast, all things considered, and a lot of them have romances brewing. So, a lot of them have romances brewing, but Shizuma is definitely, like, I would say, Shizuma and Nagisa are definitely, like, the alpha pair. There is what is mainly going on, and then everyone else, I always felt like was breaking up, so it's not purely about Shizuma and Nagisa. Everyone else does have story, and you are interested, and they have backstory and things, and romances they're dealing with, or whatever, but I feel like they're mostly there just to break up a lot of what's going on with Nagisa and Shizuma. So it worked really, really well. I felt I really liked its blend, but I was always the most excited to get to Shizuma and Nagisa the most. But anyway, talking about Shizuma. So Shizuma is very much the elegant one. She has the very long, I think it's like silver or white or something hair. Very, very long. She'll be prevalent in any art I'm able to find. No doubt. I mean, I'll have to dig for other stuff, I imagine. I'm a little worried about finding art for this one. But anyway. But yeah, she is definitely, she's very, very elegant. So of course she is the Etowale, just like it did say in the synopsis. So she is like the famous one. She is the most important one in the school. She has lots of responsibilities, and she has a lot going on. Now, the anime explains a lot about her, but, basically she's not a great Etowale. I mean, she's very good at it because she's very skilled, but she's not overly interested. I mean, so a lot of the time it's her slacking off, and it's her doing other things, because she does it, and she's in this position, but she's not overly interested in this position very much. Now, the anime will explain why, and you'll see why and everything, and there is reasons and all that jazz, but she's not overly interested in all of her responsibilities and her decision. It's not so much her scene, but she's locked into a situation, and the anime will explain why. But she is very, very cool. I mean, when she's being like genuine, I mean, because there's so much drama. I'm trying to figure out how to describe things without just spoiling the snot out of this whole anime. There is a lot going on. She has a lot of backstory. There's a lot of heavy feels in this anime, and she's very, very complicated. But when she's being genuine, she's super, super likable, and I love her and Nagisa together. They're fantastic together. I think they're super, super cute. And I just love Shizuma's aesthetic, just in general. She's very, very sophisticated. I love the super long hair, the luscious long hair. I love that a lot. And I mean, I don't know. She's super, super likable when she's being genuine. But when she's just being her cold self and her standoffish self, she's much less likable. But you have to look past that as to what's really going on underneath. And really, that's what makes Shizuma super likable. That's what makes you really, really like her. Now, moving on to our next main character, the other half of our main romance is Nagisa. So Nagisa is the redhead that is no doubt the other very prevalent character in any art I'm able to find. But Nagisa is a really great character. Although, like Shizuma has that sophisticated air, and she feels very, like I said, she feels very mature and she feels very sophisticated. Nagisa very much feels young, and she doesn't have that sophisticated feel like Shizuma does, but Nagisa very much she's very optimistic, and I don't know. I mean, she is very optimistic, but there's lots of times when she's dealing with lots of heavy things. I mean, there's lots of heavy stuff going on, and so it's, she's burdened with a lot. But when she's being her normal self, she's cheerful, and she's happy, and she's optimistic, and she loves Shizuma, and they're super cute together, and and she really, really cares about her friends, and she wants to help them out. And I mean, they're all very compassionate individuals. I mean, pretty much across the board. But Nagisa is no exception, and she's also super, super likable. She's very, very sweet, and she very much has much, much more of a younger feel than Shizuma does, like much more of like a bright-eyed and bushy-tailed kind of feel, whereas Shizuma feels much more jaded a lot of the time. Once she speaks more and gets to know her more, I mean, a lot of the time she feels cold and distant, but when she speaks more, she very much has that like what's the point kind of vibes going on some of the time. And Nagisa very much doesn't have that feel. She most of the time, when she's not being burdened by events that are happening, she does have that bright-eyed and bushy-tailed kind of feeling, But anyway, like I said, the anime will introduce all of these guys better. I just give a very, very glossary glance at characters that are standout important. Now, the site lists the next character, Tamao, as a main character. I think but it lists some other people as supporting characters, and I'm like, really? So I don't know if I agree with this, but Tamao I'll touch on very, very briefly, but Tamao is Nagisa's roommate. Now, Tamao is an important character, but some of these other characters are listed as supporting that I'm like, are you sure they're not main characters? But anyway, Tamao is Nagisa's roommate. She has like the blue, purple-ish, very much longer hair. And she is Nagisa's roommate. She's very much her best friend as well. She's with her through thick and thin, and and there's a lot of people have feelings for other characters that they're not going to get with, you know what I mean? And I'm not going to tell you what happens with who, because like this applies to many people in this cast, but there's lots of feelings, lots of feelings and lots of romances being thrown around here. So Tamao, and I do think she definitely crushes on Nagisa very, very much so. I feel like, regardless, she is a good character, and she is really, really likable, and she's very worried for Nagisa. She's super, super there for her. They're very much a team, you know what I mean? And it's very, very common in the anime to see one of them with the other one, and they do blend really, really well, Tamao has that more mature feel while still feeling like much younger than like Shizuma or whatever, for instance. And so it's kind of an interesting blend there, but there is a few things about her that I don't love. I mean, she's very protective of Nagisa, and most of the time it's awesome and it's helpful and it's great. There's a few times when it actually makes things worse, and so it's not always a great thing. And of course, I ship Nagisa and Shizuma so hard that for me, it always would strike a chord the wrong way when she gets protective against Shizuma about things, and I'm like, hey, like back off, woman, And so it was always a mixed bag for me. But the site, that's it for main characters. Now I disagree because there's a lot of characters in here that it focuses on a lot. So the other two, the other couple I'm going to touch on, I mean, I'll probably do it quicker than the other ones because the site lists them as supporting characters, and I disagree, and so it's kind of a mixed bag, but. The other two, and this is the other major romance in the anime, is Amane Otori. Now, Amane is she's very much has that tomboy, like, prince-esque feel about her. Very much feels, I mean, she's much more masculine feeling than most anyone else in the anime, really. And because that's just her vibe, so whatever. But Amane has the shorter, I think it's blue, like a lighter blue hair. But anyway, so she very much has that prince-esque type of vibes going on, and she is very, very popular in the school. Very popular. Lots of girls super crush on her. She's very, very popular. I would say second only to probably Shizuma, and they only say that, they say as much in the anime. But anyway, and so Amane is she's much more reserved, and she doesn't like the spotlight. She likes doing her own thing, but she's super popular anyway. And so, against her will, she is often thrown into the spotlight. I mean, everyone talks about her, waits on her, always curious to see what she's up to, things like that. And she's very much not on board, like 98% of the time. So that's interesting. So yeah, and it lists her as a supporting character, but the anime spends a lot of time looking at Amane and Hikari and stuff. So, use supporting character lightly. But the other half of that particular romance is Hikari Konohana. So Hikari is, I think her hair looks sort of blonde-ish, if I can find any art of her. So Hikari is very much like daintier feeling. I mean, she is, I don't know, she's much quieter, much more reserved, much like Amane, but Amane has that reserved, but I'm not shy feel more so, whereas Hikari has that I'm also quiet, but it's because I'm scared to death. You know what I mean? So there's a very big difference between them. Now, Hikari loves Amane, always has since the first time she saw her, and that's another romance that's brewing throughout the whole anime. And yeah, and she is super sweet. And she's super sweet and super nice, and but she's much quieter. She much more has that daintier, quieter, shyer feeling than Amane, than Nagisa, than a lot of characters in the anime. She very, very much so. And so it's an interesting blend there. But all the characters are great. There is a lot more supporting characters than obviously what I'm touching on. I won't say as a spoiler, but in general, as you watch the anime, I do recommend you watch it. And when you do, I'm not going to tell you why, but just suffice it to say, I feel sorry for Yeah. So, and again, this is her name, and I feel weird saying it like this, but her name is Yaya, so that's Yeah. So Yaya Nanto. Anyway, so I feel sorry for her. She is the best friend of Hikari. She is a great character. I feel sorry for her. I feel like she gets shafted a little bit. Don't worry about what happens. Just watch the anime, you'll see. But I feel sorry for her. After you watch it, you'll be like, oh, that's what he meant. Anyway, but other than that, there's a lot of characters. There's also the student council president of one of the schools, Miyuki. Rokujo. Miyuki is best friends with Shizuma, and she is very prevalent, very important throughout the anime, and she's deeper than she looks. And then there's a couple of characters that are not awesome. There's a couple of quote unquote more villain-esque characters, but everyone, but it's, I don't know, but it handles everybody well, villains included. A lot of the time, a lot of the drama is, of course, caused by our more villainous-esque characters, but there's lots, but it handles everybody so well that, just don't worry about it. Anywho, moving on, though, to my favorite / most hated characters. Now, like with lots of anime, pretty obvious which ones are my favorite. I really like Shizuma and Nagisa. If I had to choose a favorite character, Shizuma is my favorite character. I was always the most interested when she was on screen, but other than Shizuma, I really like Nagisa. I ship them together so much, and they complement each other so well, and I really, really love them. But yeah, Shizuma and Nagisa are my favorite characters. There's lots of great characters. Another student council president of one of the other schools is named Chikaru Minamoto, and Chikaru is a great character. She's just always there to help everybody, and so she does some work in this anime. So just appreciate Chikaru whenever she's on screen. Anyway, and so she's awesome. There's lots of great characters. They're all pretty great, but Shizuma especially, but Shizuma and Nagisa are my favorite characters. Anyway, so moving on to the animation and music, how did it look and feel? So, it is older, no lies, it is older, and it feels like it a little bit. I mean, it definitely has a little bit more of a dated art style, and it's, but it's not bad. I mean, it's certainly not bad, and it's not like, there's certainly no, like, deducted points or anything for it. But it definitely has an older art style. I mean, but that's not its fault. That's what they all looked like back in 2006. You know what I mean? I mean, lots of anime looked just like that. So it very much has an old school art style, but it is new enough that, like, because I have this weird line between lots of anime where I do like, obviously I love anime. It's one of my 2 favorite things. But a lot of I'm kind of weird with my anime. I have a really hard time getting into, like, lots of old school anime. Once I hear something is from, like, the 90s, I almost immediately check out. It kind of has to be, like, at earliest kind of early 2000s and then all, like, newer for me to often want to see it. Now, it's not to say that I've never seen one that was older that was good, because I have seen some that were older and good, but often the art style is just a huge turnoff, and I have a really hard time feeling like I would watch it and be able to look past it, and I don't know. Often a lot of the old school anime show their age, and I have a really hard time getting into them, because when a lot of these animes were coming out and I was that age at the time, I didn't even know what anime was. And so I don't have any nostalgia goggles for any of this stuff. And so by the time I watch it, I was at earliest a late teenager, and most likely I was in my 20s. By the time I really started watching a lot of anime, I was in my late teenagehood. And so I don't have a lot of nostalgia goggles for this stuff. And so because of it, a lot of, like, 90s anime or, like, 80s anime or whatever, I mean, it's like I don't know any of it because I didn't watch almost any of it. The only exception would be Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon. I watched that as a little kid, and I watched a tiny bit of the original Dragon Ball when I was really young, but I didn't, not a lot, just a little bit. And other than that, that's pretty much it. So, I don't have any nostalgia for this stuff, so often I'm kind of picky on my dates. But anyway. But yeah, it does show its age, but it is really good, and it is new enough that it's not distracting, and it doesn't detract from any part of it, and I think that is super, and that's awesome. I mean, it's obviously I've seen this one several times, and as far as the music goes, the music is really, really good in this one. I mean, it really, I mean, I feel like it perfectly accentuates, it perfectly goes along and adds to the feeling and the vibe of the whole anime. It's very, very good. It very much has that, like, helping sell you on the whole, it's a classy anime, and you know what I mean, like stuff like that. I feel like in the music suit really added to that. Now, it wasn't like its strongest point, I would say. Like, I didn't feel like the music was blowing me out of the water, that it was like distractingly good or anything. I have seen animes that were like that, but it was good. I mean, it was good. It added to the animation. It was awesome. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much Strawberry Panic. Now, I'm trying to think if there's anything else to say before we get to the scoring. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much Strawberry Panic. So, moving on to our final rating and recommendation. I'm going to give this one a 5 out of 5. Very good. This anime made no mistakes worth noting and is definitely worth a buy. So yeah, I definitely do recommend it. So, it's a good one. It's a classic. It is a classic Yuri / shoujo ai anime. And if you are a big fanboy or fangirl of Yuri or shoujo ai animes like this guy is, then you're probably gonna like it, because I certainly have. I've seen it several times. And yeah, I mean, it's good. I mean, it's a good one. It is lots of, like I mentioned, it's lots of drama. It's 26 episodes long, and there's peaks, and it goes through some like mini arcs. I mean, if you're trying to find a way to describe it, it kind of goes through these mini little arcs. It'll go through this arc of drama, then it arcs back into some fluff to help you wash down the last bit of drama, and then it will arc back into drama, then it'll get over it to the next bit of fluff, etc., etc. Rinse, repeat. I mean, you know what I mean? And that is always and that is what happens. Now I'm trying to decide if I should hop into a spoiler section, if I should talk about like more specifics, or if I should call it a spoiler or not. Okay, well, I'm not going to call this a spoiler. It's not a spoiler. But I would say, without telling you what happens, it ends well. That's what I will say. Not a spoiler, because a lot of people, I mean, I know people that won't watch something if it doesn't end well. And so I'm not going to get into why or what happens, and you're going to have to learn all the little nitty gritty, but it does have a good ending, and it's good for everybody. Everybody gets something good. So you'll have to watch it to learn. I don't consider that a spoiler, because now if you are worried about that type of thing, then now you can put your mind at ease, because everyone gets a good deal. Pretty much everyone gets a good deal. I have some internal reservations about what happens to some characters, but it does end well. So, but yeah, that is Strawberry Panic. It's a classic. Seen it several times. I own this one physically, and it's great. It's a classic. Seen it several times, but I finally watched it with the intent of reviewing it this next time. So, just this time. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I am back fully in the swing of watching anime again. There is lots of things that I want to see. Actually, really quick, I can look up the anime I might be watching soon to see if it is completed, or the next season, I should say. Just want to double check. Anyway, but yeah, I am fully back in the swing of watching anime. Good, it is done. Fantastic. Anyway, but yeah, I am fully back in the swing of watching anime again, and so yeah, so you can hopefully expect these to be coming back with some kind of regularity. Like I said, these ones are not a scheduled thing, and so they come out when I complete the anime, and so I just hope that I can get back on the train, just like I did with this one, of watching anime again, to get out reviews, faster than like whatever. So hopefully I don't have to wait every 2 months or every 6 months or whatever it was the last couple times. And so yeah, I am hoping to get back on the swing of that. But there's lots of good animes to watch. Lots of ones that I'm really excited about. The one I might be watching next, I was looking at it right now. It was the second season of Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid is now completed, and I loved that show a lot, and so I was really excited about it, and it is now done, so I can watch that now if I wanted. There is Sword Art Online got a movie, and it sounded like, I almost think it was like a season 1, but from like Asuna's point of view or something. It's like an Asuna focused one, which has me really excited, especially about season 1. And I mean, season 1 related stuff, I love that. So I am really I'm really excited about that movie, and I will definitely watch it. And when I do, I will review it. So yeah, I'm not positive what I'm going to watch next, but I am hoping to be picking it up probably tonight, maybe tomorrow. But over the next couple days, I'll be starting the next one, and I'll be working on that. And so we will see whatever it happens to be. But yeah, the other thing, of course, hope you probably noticed, was all of my art is different. I updated my art when I updated all my channel art at the same time, And it was the thing I did before that was I updated all the scorecards, I updated the intro, I updated some things. So no doubt you noticed that, because the scorecard was different and my intro was slightly different, and all of the art was different too that I used. So yeah, so that's pretty exciting. I did like the refresh. It felt good because it's been so long since I did one of these, and it kind of made sense to me to update all the art because I did want to do that anyway. And so I thought, let's do this before the next review. So this will be the first review with all the new stuff. So yeah, I am really excited. Hopefully you guys are excited for more positive anime reviews, and I am too. So I don't know. I would talk about normally, uploads for the week or whatever, but or coming up or whatever, but considering I'm not positive when this is going to get out, ideally it'll be tomorrow at the time of recording this, but it might not be. So if it doesn't happen at that time, I don't necessarily want to talk about specifics that might not apply, so don't worry about it. Anyway, that is going to call for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the content today, and we will talk to you guys later.